In World War II, medical personnel often painted this Red Cross symbol on their helmets and wore Red Cross armbands to signify to the enemy that they were non-combatants and they couldn't be targeted under the Geneva Convention. In theory, this would keep the enemy from shooting at them, but in practice, things were a little bit complicated. In general, the Germans respected this because they had medics of their own. The German medics also wore Red Crosses, and since they expected their medics to not be shot at, they wouldn't shoot at our medics in return. Now keep in mind that in a battle where you have thousands of people shooting at each other, it's not really possible to pick out a medic from everyone else. Bullets are flying around and medical personnel are bound to be hit. But generally speaking, the Germans respected that aspect of the Geneva Convention, and US and German medics actually worked together a lot of times. Now, when we start talking about the Pacific Theater, things get a lot different. Unlike the Germans, the medics in the Japanese army didn't wear any type of marking, and they did not expect the US to consider them as non-combatants. So in return, they saw no reason why they should treat our medics any differently. At some points in the war, the Japanese even targeted US medics because they knew that shooting them would demoralize the Americans and keep them from treating their wounded. If that sounds incredibly brutal to you, well, you'd be correct. Welcome to the Pacific Theater. Because of this, US medics in the Pacific quickly stopped painting their helmets and didn't wear any type of marking that would signify their medical status. They also started carrying guns because if they're not considered non-combatants by the enemy, they might as well be able to defend themselves.